Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the grey. Today's video we have a Black Library review for Warhammer 40k, and today we're going to be checking out Pilgrims of Fire by Justin D. Hill. Now, as always, I do like to listen to the audio versions of these. I generally pick them up on Audible, Black Library app, or indeed direct from Black Library sometimes. This one is narrated by Gabrielle Nellis-Payne, who I think did an amazing job at voicing all of the Sisters of Battle in here. She brought a ton of them to life, which was really great. Don't think I've listened to too many. I think maybe some of the other Sister Battle ones I've listened to have had her do them, but I can't quite remember the name. I'm terrible at names though, so maybe I have. If I have, I apologise, Gabrielle. But did a really good job. Justin D. Hill always releases some great things. I love some of his other stories and other works. So let's get cracking on and talk about the story. And so, of all the devout warriors in the Adeptus Sororitas, none are as renowned or battle-hungry as those of the Order of Our Martyred Lady. Yet while others seek glory in their own martyrdom, Sister Heloise is determined to stay alive, so that her death might serve a greater purpose when the God Emperor wills it. Assigned to Fleet Quintus of the Indomitus Crusade, Heloise and her sisters follow an ancient route of pilgrimage to rediscover and liberate the shrine world of Sion, once a sacred bastion of the Order. In retracing the steps of St. Catherine herself, their faith will be tested to the extreme as they attempt to uncover what became of their sisters stationed in the demon-infested sectors beyond the Cicatrix Maledictum, the giant rent in space. As the mission lurches from disaster to disaster and the Emperor's voice grows ever quieter, the Sister Battle must trust in Bolter, Blade, and their own unbreakable bonds to drive back the darkness of Imperium Nihilus. And so, our story's purpose. We have two main parts to the story. One part is following Sister Heloise and Fleet Quintus in the Indomitus Crusade and all the other happenings. In the other part are on the planet Sion in the days before Cadia's fall and the Terran reality splitting the galaxy apart, aka the Cicatrix Maledictum. This story does show us the Sisters of Battle and how they react to the events, like the Light of the Astronomicon disappearing and how their faith is a massive boon for the Crusade fleets around them. We get two really nice looks at the Sisters of Battle in here, you know, their direct response of, oh dear, what has happened? Everything has gone dark. What has happened here? And indeed, you know, them trying to raise up the Imperial troops around them to bring them back to fighting, and believing that the Imperium can be built and can be saved. And so our main character is Sister Heloise. There is a fantastic supporting cast of characters within this story, it should be said, from the Satellite Chem Dogs and all the variety of different characters, including their commissar, their medic, their different sort of corporals and captains and members of their squads as well. There's a fantastic array of them. There's also, you know, a bunch of secondary sister characters that, you know, definitely take up some time, like the Canoness herself, and indeed members of Sister Heloise's units and those under her command as well, along with some rivals of hers as well within the Order. So there's a nice variety of characters within there, which I think is really fun. But also there's the characters that take place on the planet of Sion in the days past. And I think they really add a lot, especially one particular character. I don't want to spoil too much because that going too deep into that side of the story really does ruin half of it, but it's really fun to know those characters have some cool progression with them and give you some good base characters as well to work with. So over the course of the story, what happens about our main character, Sister Heloise? I think throughout the story, we are really shown from Heloise especially, but a lot of different sisters, the crisis of faith that they go to when the light of the Emperor is disappearing around them, is effectively gone at times as well. I think this is a really interesting sort of task for the sister to overcome, because they are such devout servants of the God Emperor as they see him. Now, Sister Heloise obviously goes through all these trials like the others, and we get a much deeper look at sort of her trials and the crisis of faith she has and how strong her faith ends up being to overcome these, which I think just adds a lot to the story. I mean, this is a big story arc for her, is that faith and how does it sort of circumvent. She also is, you know, plagued by some reasonings and some things of her past throughout the story as well that definitely come to fruition and have some bits and pieces sort of making her the character that she is that we met at the start of the story, and really helping sort of found the changes within her as well. And so, what does this book do well? First of all, I think the power of faith is really well presented in here, showing how those around the sisters really do depend on how their faith sort of works and is presented. And I think this is definitely, a really strong part of the story. But for me, the biggest strength of the story is how nicely the switch is between the past, the sort of, happenings of the Fall of Acadia time on Scion, and indeed the present with our Indominus Crusade fleet. And I think this sort of switch between the timelines is done really nicely, that it helps pace out the story as well, and this just makes for a much easier sort of read or listen, as the sort of pacing is done really nicely between the two parts. This one is pretty self-explanatory. Who would like this book? Sisters of Battle fans, this is certainly for you. They are front and center here, taking on a pious sort of crusade and going on a nice little pilgrimage. As the name would suggest, the Pilgrims of Fire. They go on the pilgrimage, traveling, the path that St. Catherine herself traveled in Imperium Nihilus. But also, if you do like the Imperial Guard, the Satellite Chem Dogs, and especially if you have read, the things from Only War, where they originally started appearing, there's definitely, a lot of information on them. If that's sort of a Imperial Guard faction you like, they do get a very decent amount of screen time that I really like. And they are such a cool little faction to bring in. So if you like Imperial Guard, especially obviously Satellite Chem Dogs, you're going to get a lot out of the story as well. In summary, nicely paced. I think that is the biggest sort of pro the book has, is it's really well paced. It goes nicely, was consumed by myself really easily. And that is really nice when I can just listen to a book and it's not causing me to stop it or pause it, and I can just listen to it in a couple of sessions, like I did with this. I think I listened to this in like 2 sessions. It was really, really fun. Also, it has a nice story. I like the overall story. I don't think it has any sort of big, moving, massive sort of, oh my god, wow parts to it, but it is a nice story nonetheless. Follows something, shows sort of faith in a really interesting way, and how sort of faith, is challenged within the story. It's a fun story without a doubt, and has fun characters, enjoyable nonetheless, nicely paced, and the narration was done really well as well. But if you've listened to Pilgrims of Fire by Justin D. Hill, I'd love to hear your thoughts about it down in the comments below. And so that's the end of the video. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel down below. And also, don't forget to drop a comment down below letting us know what you enjoyed about the video. If you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our great little community here at Sinful Gaming, we have a Discord server that's linked down in the video's description. Also linked down in the video's description are the best ways to help support the channel. Either by grabbing yourself some channel merch, either through our Ko-fi or Teespring stores, or by supporting us directly via Patreon and YouTube members. As a special thank you to everyone who does support the channel via Patreon and YouTube members, we'd like to give you all a shout out. So thank you to our Patreons, Christian Weir, Soren, Kenny Lau, Outer and Shot First, Andrew Bowen, Cure Dynamic, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domir, Mark Harvey, James Cater, Benjamin Swallows, Red Martin, Iron Grinch, Colorblind Magic, Grimscold, and Andy C. And to our YouTube members, Green Roots Gaming, Ronya, Lock Lorick, the Johnny84, Broken Chef, Ariana Edwards, Revan R, Pink Noco Fire, Robin Mankiller, Monty's Tabletop Terrain, James Tillman, Disco, and John Castle. And a special thanks to Lady Witchfox R and all the amazing people who do the moderation of our Discord server and groups who make everything we do possible. Thank you all so much once again for watching, for supporting the channel. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the grey. Ciao for now.